In this question, we want to work out the surface area of this sphere. Now, the beautiful thing about sphere is that if you have to work out the surface area, it's only defined by the radius. So, to work out the surface area, you will need to multiply 4 times pi times the square of the radius. So, to find the surface area, you multiply 4 times pi times the radius squared. Radius is 3 and it's squared. And now if we try to simplify this, there's going to be 4 times pi times, now 3 squared is simply 3 times 3, and that's going to be 9. And then if we simplify this further, 4 times 9 is 36, and then include the pi. To get a numerical value, we're going to punch the pi in your calculator and then multiply with 36. And then you get 113.1 rounded to 1 decimal place, and don't forget to put a unit, which is a centimeter squared. This is the surface area of this 3D sphere. In the second question here, we have to work out the surface area of the sphere and then leave our answer in terms of pi. To begin with, we know the formula for the surface area is 4 pi times the radius squared. So we go ahead with it. The surface area is 4 times pi times the radius squared. Now we know that the 4 is a constant times the pi times the radius squared, and now the radius here is 5. So you simply put 5 squared. And of course, you know the 5 squared is 25, so we're going to simplify this. 4 times 5 times 25. And then again, you multiply 25 and 4, you get 100, and then times that pi, and that's pi. Now, because the question is requesting us to leave our answer in terms of pi, so we're going to let pi be as it is without kind of substituting with the numerical value. And then to complete our work, we have to put our unit. And because this is area and the unit is centimeters, it's going to be centimeters squared. So the surface area of this 3D sphere is 100 pi centimeters squared. Now, this is a hemisphere. Now, hemisphere is kind of a half of a 3D sphere. Now, here we want to work out the total surface area of the hemisphere. But then if you look very carefully, you find that there are two basic surfaces. One, the curved surface, and then the flat surface on the bottom, which is really a circle. So to find the total surface area, you will have to work out the surface area, the curved part, and the flat bottom surface. Now, to begin with that, because there's no known formula for working out the hemisphere, so what we do is to find out the curve. We'll have to find the total surface area of a full sphere, and then you half it, and that's going to be half of the surface area of the curved part. So let's begin first by working out the surface area of a sphere, the surface area of a full sphere, which is given by the formula 4 times pi times the radius squared, and this time the radius is 5, so it's going to be 5 squared. And then if you multiply this, 5 squared is 25, and 25 times 4, that's going to be 100 pi, okay? And then in terms of units, it's going to be centimeter squared. Now you will notice that I left my answer in terms of pi, okay? Good. So next, I have to work out the surface area of the hemisphere, which is actually half of the full sphere. Okay, so surface area of should I say hemisphere, will definitely have to be half of this, half of the sphere, 100 pi. Okay, should I say 100 pi, and then you half it, and definitely that's going to be 50 pi. And of course, put the unit centimeter squared. Okay, all right. And now, because we want to work out the total surface area, so the total surface area of the whole hemisphere, the total surface area will have to be the curved part, and the area of the circle will be the curved part, which is 50 pi plus the area of the circle on the bottom, which is given by the formula pi r square. Remember, it's a circle, so that's why I have pi r square. And we know the radius there is actually 5, so we can go 50 pi plus pi times 5 squared, which is 50 pi plus 25 pi. And if you add these two values, you get 75 pi. And of course, the units will be in centimeters squared. Yeah, that's it. Now we have a sphere having a surface area of 3600 pi, and we want to work out the radius. So what we're going to do is see how we can substitute the known value in the formula and then figure out how to work out the radius. So to begin, we know the surface area is given by 3600 pi, and that's equals to 4, the constant, times pi, times the radius squared. So our job here is to figure out how to get the radius. Now, one thing we can do is to divide both sides on the right and the left by 4 pi. So we have 3600 pi divided by 4 pi, and that's going to be equal to radius squared. Now, again, if you look carefully, you can see the pi on the top here. We cancel out the pi on the bottom, leaving out 3600 divided by 4. And if you divide that, you're going to get 900, and that will be equals to radius squared. And now to figure out what the radius will be, we have to square root this number, the square root of 900. And of course, if you find the square root of 900, definitely unit is going to be 30. And don't forget to put your unit, because this is the radius, so it's going to be in centimeter. Now we have a sphere, but this time the radius is not given. What we have is a diameter. And of course, you can solve this without, if you don't know the radius. So what we definitely going to be doing here is to work out if the diameter is 12, definitely we have to find what the radius is. Now we know the radius is half of the diameter. So if the diameter is 12, the radius will be half of it, and definitely that will be 6 centimeter. Now this is the value, the radius value that we're going to use and substitute in this formula to work out the surface area. And now we know the surface area already. We know that of a sphere is given by the formula 4 times pi times the radius squared. Okay, times the radius squared. And for the radius is 6, so it's going to be 6 squared. And now if we simplify this, we have 4 times pi times, now 6 squared is about I should say 36. Okay, so 36. So now what we definitely would be doing now is to multiply 36 times 4, which is definitely going to give us 144 times pi. Okay, and then of course we need a numerical value for this, not just in terms of pi. So we're going to punch pi in a calculator and then multiply by 144. And when you do that, you're going to get 452.4. Again, we're leaving this to one decimal place, and the unit, because this is area, is going to be in centimeters squared. Now, here is a bit of complicated question, but let's see how we're going to let's see how we're going to do it. Here we have three different 3D shapes: a sphere, a cone, and a cube. And we know that the surface area of the sphere is the sum of the surface area of the cone and that of the cube. Okay, so and we need to work out what the radius of the sphere really is, and we can give an answer to 3 significant figures. So we know from here that the surface area of the sphere is equal, from the question, the sum of the surface area of the cone and the cube. Good. So let's begin by working out the volume of the surface area of a cube. Now, because it's a cube, all the sides of the cube are the same. Okay. Now, because the same, and each face is a square, so definitely you could say the surface area of the cube is gonna be let's say surface area of the cube is 6 times 6, okay, which is that's one face of it is 36 centimeters squared. And because this cube has 6 faces identical, so simply the surface area, okay, so you could say the surface area of it is definitely going to be 36 times 6, which will reduce to something like 216 centimeters squared. Next, we have a cone. Now, to work out the surface area of a cone, there are two things that you need to know. You need to know the curved part, with the surface of the curved part, and the area of the bottom. And then the surface area of it, definitely, is given by the formula, or should I say, you can work that out by doing pi r squared, which is the area of the circle on the bottom of the cone, plus the curved part, the surface area of curved part, the curved part the area of the curved part, which is given by the formula pi rl. Now, L here simply means the slant height here. Okay, of course, you know what radius is and what pi definitely is. So we're going to substitute directly. So we have pi times the radius. Now, the bottom that is the diameter is given, so you would have to halve it to get the radius, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you're going to use 3 squared plus pi times the radius, again, which is going to be half of the diameter, which is 3, times the slant height, which is 10. And then if you try to simplify, 3 squared is 9, and 9 times pi is 9 pi, plus, again, for here, 3 times 10 is 30, 30 times pi, that's going to be 30 pi. And then if you add these two, you get 39 pi. Of course, you want to get the numerical value, so you're going to punch pi on your calculator times pi times 39. You definitely will be getting something like 122.5, I think 522, 1135. Now, of course, in centimeters squared. Now, I'm writing down all the units in the display, okay? All right. Now we know the surface area of the sphere is equal to the surface area of the cone plus that of surface area of the cube. And surface area of the sphere is given by the formula 4 times pi radius squared is equal to surface of a cone, which is 122.5221.135 plus the surface of surface area of the cube, which is given by 260. And then, if you add these two, you have 338.5221.135, which is equal to 4 pi r square, okay? Which is surface area of a sphere. And then what we can do here is to divide both sides by 4 pi. So radius squared is going to be 338.5221135. And then divide that by 4 pi. And then to get the radius, you have to square everything here in one swoop. So 338.5221135 divided by 4 pi. Okay. And then, of course, you put your square root sign there. And if you work that out, you're going to get 5.19. And this is correct to a 3 significant figure. And because this is a radius, it's going to be in centimeters.